Alright guys, Jen, hopefully you're having a wonderful day, and today we're here with a video on what soccer cards in ultra modern / modern people should be buying. And, spoiler, I'm not going to tell you which cards to buy because that's silly, and we'll talk about why that is. As always, if you generally enjoy the videos, make sure to leave a like, helps me help the channel, but we'll get started with the disclaimer. First of all, I'm just a random dude on the internet giving you some opinions about cards in general, so don't take any of this too seriously. It's meant to be fun. Also, this is not financial advice by any means. Do as you please. If you just like collecting, go ahead and buy whatever cards you like. If you're trying to invest and flip and do that type of stuff, I mean, I'll try to give you some overarching themes that I feel good about, but I'm not gonna, point you where to go or how to do this or, how to go about it. So let's go ahead and talk about it. And you might be like, what are we doing? Where are we at? So right now I'm on the Wax Pack Hero site, and this page was brought to my attention by Chris from Card Ladder, a site that I use quite a lot, very helpful, and he was talking about a football article that I feel is really relevant to just all sports in general, to modern in general, ultra modern, all that good stuff. And so we're going to parlay this into soccer and sort of talk about how this is relevant. So, as you can see here, this article is the 20 most expensive Barry Sanders cards from 1998 compared to 2025. So essentially, over 27 years, where did the top 20 cards rank then, and where do they rank now? And I think it's a very interesting thought experiment, and one I wanted to go ahead and share with you guys. Even though it is American football and not regular, worldly football, I think it's still very prevalent. If you're not into American sports, I would say Barry Sanders, in terms of player, is definitely a worthwhile player and a worthwhile collectible player in terms of football. One of the best running backs ever, a standout of the 90s, but he's not a quarterback, so he's not the most collectible, but still very relevant and still very useful for this comparison here. So we're just going to take a scroll through here. I'm not going to dig into the weeds too much on individual cards because I'm not an American football expert. I mean, I barely know what I'm talking about in regard to soccer cards. So we'll get going here. This was actually made on January 25th, which I didn't know, so we're, a cool 6 months behind. Also, anyone that's at the National, hope you're having a blast. SoCo, I'm sure, is as fun as ever, so look forward to hearing how that goes from those that attended. With that said, let's go ahead and get rolling here. So we'll look at number one. This one here, as you can see, the Select Certified Mirror Red Premium Stock. Really nice looking card. In 1998, it ranked number one at $1,200, and it currently in a PSA 10 is $1,700. I think it's a little unfair to compare a raw card in 1998 to a PSA 10 now. I would assume the PSA 9 is probably closer to like 5 to 8 probably, and so for that reason it's not as big of a multiple, but it's still a significant multiple. It dropped from 1 to 3. This one here took a massive fall. This is an SPX Force Auto where it was ranked 2 and now it's ranked 16. It's a very strange card where essentially it has 4 players on it, and there's sort of like holographic looking player images, but there's only one autograph, so it's very strange. But it does have a lot of the GOATs of the era: Dan Marino, Jerry Rice, Keyshawn Johnson, which a little less so, and then Barry Sanders. And this went from rank 2 to rank 16, a $1,200 card that devolved into a $350 card. Keeping it moving, we have this red leather helmets that went from number 3 to number 8 and barely gained any pricing increase at all, especially considering this is a PSA 9 and it's die cut, so I'm guessing a 9 is not all that easy. This totally certified platinum gold stayed at 4. It went from $800 to $6,000. Barry Sanders red playoff contenders, $800 to $800, although this is a PSA 6 to be fair, but in terms of this example, it didn't gain at all. SPX promotion autograph here. It goes from $800 to $1,050. This was kind of surprising me. I thought it was a good looking card. I know Jordan has some SPX cards that people like quite a bit that have autographs on them. It's numbered out of 100. I thought this one, kind of surprised me in the negative way. You got a Finest Barry Sanders here that went from 7 to 5th. You have the PMG, and this is going to be the big daddy here. This is the PMG green, but even then the red still has done crazy numbers, as you'll see here. So in 1998, this was ranked number 8 at $560 for the green out of 15. In basketball, it's out of 10. In football, it was out of 15. And now it's ranked number 1, and that's with a sale of $54,000 for the red, which I'm actually not sure what that's numbered out of. I want to say maybe 150, but I could be wrong. But the red sold for $54,000, which would imply the green probably would sell for hundreds, I would imagine. And with that, you can see this card went from $500 to hundreds of thousands, right? So that pretty clearly is the home run within this list. The green for sure, and even the red. I would imagine the red, the red sold for $54,000. The red would be number 2. So the green's number 1, the red's number 2. And the red, if the green was ranked number 8 in 1998, the red might have been, not even on the top 20. We'll scroll through the rest fairly quickly here. We have a playoff absolute reflex here that went down $200. We have an Upper Deck game jersey relic that went up 4x, which is okay. It's also BGS 9, so it's a fairly decent grade. And you have to consider you're going through like 30 years of pricing increase. The dollar's lost a lot of value, surely, over the 30 years as well. So, you're keeping up for sure, but you're not, that's not like sizable gains that are crazy and out of this world by any means. You would have done better with like baseball vintage, just sort of, notable rookies for sure. Donruss preferred precious metals here from 400 to 1,000, and this is for PSA 9, so it's probably even less. A Dynagon here that stayed exactly the same over 30 years, which is certainly, if your goal is just to collect cards again and you don't care about the values, then it's fine. You like the card, it is what it is. But if you would like to be able to get your money out of it at some point, which I would assume most people would, not in like a nefarious way or like a flipper way, but like if you want to sell to go do something else or to go buy a different card, you'd like to see a little bit of an increase, I would imagine. And that certainly, even though it stayed nearly the same in the rank, it really didn't increase. Keep in mind, football's gained a lot of steam over the last 5 years, certainly within the card space. Playoff contenders went down $100 here. This is leather accents. We have a Topps Gallery Peter Max. I think this is an autograph from the artist. So that's interesting, and that gained a little bit of steam there. Flair Showcase went up a good bit, $300 to $1,100 here. Star Rubies, the other notable winner. This went from number 16 at $300 to number 2 at $40,000. So again, just a massive increase here of over 100x, assuming this $300 card in 1998 would have been a PSA 8. And then finally, throughout this one went from $300 to $35, so that's quite rough. Nice looking card, I will say, but clearly, not cared for at the same level. This Gold Refractor, also a nice looking card, stayed exactly the same over nearly 30 years. This one went from $250 to $43, and this one went from $250 to $885, so actually pretty decent. So, what is all this for? What are we supposed to take away from this, right? Well, you can make your own assumptions, and I would implore you to pause the video, think about what you saw here, and try to come up with some things on your own. I'm going to share at least what I feel like I've seen, which is that clearly, going through this list, not everything moves up the same, right? I think a lot of people buy soccer cards or just cards in general, and they sort of are under the assumption that, oh, if cards go up, my card's going to go up. All the cards will go up somewhat linearly, and I'll be good. Right, and I think that is a far cry from reality, and I think this list goes to show it. You got a card like this, granted it's a PSA 10, but this goes up 5x. A lot of them, I would say the general average in here is probably like 4 to 5x on some of the things that stayed relevant. If it didn't stay relevant, it probably stayed even, if not went down in price. And then as we saw, there were a few big hitters, the PMG Green, the PMG Red, and the Star Rubies, and those went absolutely crazy. So within these 20, there was 3 that just shot to the moon. There was probably another 10, 5 to 10 that sort of stayed within the range. There was probably another 5 to 10, clearly you can't pick 10 for both of these, but somewhere between 5 and 10 that, stayed the same, if not went down a little bit. And then there were a few that tanked, right? So there's a few that tank, a few winners, and the rest either go up 3 or 4x, stay the same, or go down a little bit, right? So I think generally that's sort of what we're seeing here, and I think that's important because, again, I think a lot of people are under the impression that all of these cards would go up together over time, and I think that's a far cry from where we're actually at. And to pick out some particulars in terms of what I feel like helped these, I will say I think Eye Appeal was a big distinguisher in terms of what succeeded, right? This Select Mirror Red Premium stock, really good looking card. This card, less so, looks pretty disgusting and did poorly. This card, not really a standout, also did poorly. This card looks pretty good, did pretty good. And kind of the same throughout, right? This Finest Embossed did pretty good. The PMGs certainly look pretty good as well. I keep saying pretty good, but they look nice. And, so the cards that look the best, at least generally speaking, seem to do the best. This one did okay. The Flair Showcase, which looks good. Star Rubies, everyone loves. Also, numbered cards. I think having cards where people clearly can tell how many of them are out there and don't have to do some crazy sort of digging, I think that also helps for sure. And I think autographs don't really perform the best. Like this one here is sort of surprising, and some of the other ones in the list. The autographs really didn't do all that much, and I think part of the reason is because people can sign forever. So there's really never a shortage of supply for autographs. Now, maybe within certain sets, right? If there's a particular set everyone loves, like Exquisite in basketball, sure, the autographs can go to the moon, but generally speaking, I think autographs are a pretty rough spot. And so those are my takeaways for this list here, and looking at Barry Sanders. Now, how do we apply that to soccer cards? So applying that to soccer cards, I'm over on eBay right now, just taking a look at, some of the highest selling Luis Suarez cards. I don't know if they're necessarily comparable players in the grand scheme of things, but it's just a name that sort of popped up to me and I felt was worthy of looking at. So I'll just scroll through some Luis Suarez cards and sort of talk about the general trends that I'm seeing. I guess the first thing that I've already mentioned is, just because cards go up doesn't mean your card in particular goes up, and just because your card was valuable 30 years ago doesn't mean it's going to be valuable in 30 years, right? That's not necessarily the way things have to go. Taste change, pumps change to some degree. I think that's also a notable one in here as well. People can sort of wonder to themselves, why did certain cards go up? Why didn't others? A lot of it's narrative. A lot of it's the community around it and the people that want to position themselves within certain cards at certain prices. So it's not simply just buy X card and it goes up because people like it at the time. Over time, that might change, right? And so I think that's important, especially now in soccer cards where you have more competition than ever in terms of brand. I mean, this was a card that wasn't even thought of to ever exist 5 years ago in MLS, Miami autograph out of 10 Topps Finest. I mean, no one was thinking about that card. Now it's selling for $300. It's, on the top page of Luis Suarez cards right now on eBay. I think a way that you can sort of, if you feel good about a player, or if you just want to collect a player and just want to feel decent, I think having a spread of cards is probably best in terms of hedging your bets. If some cards go up and other cards go down, overall you'll be doing okay. But I do think part of the issue could be, we saw with those PMGs that they went up 100x. So if you bought a ton of cards and then the PMGs go up 3, 4, 5x and you sell, well, you missed out on really what was the biggest gainer of the era because you sold and took a little bit of profit. So taking profit, while good sometimes, can actually sort of bite you in scenarios like this over multiple decades. Now, I don't know if people care as much about that in modern soccer because I don't know how many people are buying these cards planning on holding them for decades to come, but it is worthy of at least some sort of thought. And so, yeah, I mean, what card should you buy? Hopefully this video is giving you some sort of ideas in terms of how things play out and how things played out for Barry Sanders in particular here. I can't tell you which cards to buy, and even if I did tell you which cards to buy, those might not be the cards in 30 years. They might be the cards now, they might not be later. And so there's really no way to know for certain. Ultimately, do your own research, buy cards you think look nice and have some sort of fundamentals that you agree with. And, don't over-leverage yourself, don't overstretch, and you'll probably have a pretty good time. So that's going to be it for this video today. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like. I'd appreciate it greatly. I will link this article down below if you want to go ahead and take more of a peek at it. I guess I feel bad a little bit because we already basically went through it, so you probably aren't going to, but I don't think the soccer community is necessarily going to find this article on their own anyway. So shining some light on it certainly can't hurt. Again, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. Any thoughts, would love to hear them down below in the comments. And if you want to see more videos like this as soon as I go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.